We live in an era in which mental health is the first priority for survival. From early childhood, mind gets exposed to various challenges, which in turn lead to many psychic and psychosomatic health issues. Smriti meditation is a psychotherapeutic tool to manage such problems. Smriti meditation is found to be effective in psychic conditions like anxiety, depression, fear, aggression, guilt, lack of self-esteem, and psychosomatic conditions like asthma, gastrointestinal tract disorders, headache, insomnia, hypertension, and autoimmune disorders. Scope of Smriti meditation has been identified in managing interpersonal relationships, personality disorders, lack of concentration, lack of memory, and work-related stress. Trained Ayurveda doctors can help a person to integrate visual, auditory, kinesthetic, intellectual, behavioral, and emotional dimensions of a problem, thereby helping them to associate with their past experiences in creating a universal awareness. As the person evolves into a higher state of meditation, emotional blocks are cleared and solution emerges as an insight. These insights helps to heal many psychic and psychosomatic illnesses. Basic concepts of this method are taken from the Ayurveda classical text Charaka Samhita. When compared to other techniques of meditation, Smriti is a personalized, interactive, guided method focusing mostly on therapeutic efficacy on unhealthy mind and body. This treatment is most successful in persons who are voluntarily asking for a help within the age limit of 10 to 60 years. The prognosis is not promising in case of those under the influence of narcotics, psychedelic drugs. It differs from other psychotherapeutic techniques due to the autonomy of the client's privacy, self-realization, and self-correction. The ultimate goal of Smriti meditation is rediscovering oneself by experiencing absolute knowledge, happiness, and bliss. For further details, please visit www.smritimeditation.com.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to this magnificently glorious evening. Dearest audience, hold on to your hearts because we have gathered here for the grand inaugural ceremony of Smriti, Smriti Meditation Research Institute for Therapeutic Innovations, with the intention of institutionalizing the education, research, and clinical activities in the field of Ayurvedic psychotherapy. We have also met here for the launching of our website, Smriti, and the release of e-book on Smriti meditation and Russian translation of the book Ayurveda for Health and Longevity. We also plan to host an annual meet of Smriti Vaibhavam in connection with the inaugural function. On behalf of Smriti, I, Dr. Shanaz Fatima, am extremely privileged to welcome you all to the function. Which best time we could choose for the inauguration of Smriti Institute, as today is World Mental Health Day, with the need to scale up quality mental health services at all levels. During this year's World Mental Health Day, the theme is Mental Health in an Unequal World, with the campaign slogan, Mental Health Care for All, let's make it a reality, that focus on reducing the gaps between the haves and the have-nots that is growing wider. Encouraging everyone to highlight a positive story as a part of your own activities to inspire you to move on courageously, healthily, and happily. With this in our mind, we shall start the function by meditating on the theme mental health in an unequal world. I request everyone to close your eyes and do a short meditation on the positive stories that had happened to you which inspire you again and again. The same with everyone surrounding you, visualizing a positive world, removing all the impurities of human mind where all people think positively and providing equal mental happiness to everyone. Thank you, everyone. Let's move on to the inaugural ceremony. Dr. K.V. Dilip Kumar, who has served as Professor and HOD, Department of Swasthavita at Vaidirignam P.S. Varya Ayurveda College, Kottakkal, and also as a teaching professor of Institute of Oriental Medicine, People's Friendship University of Russia, Moscow. He did advanced trainings in the field of yoga therapy and developed a unique psychotherapeutic method, Smriti meditation, aimed at prevention and treatment of psychosomatic disorders. His constant hard work and dedication in propagating Smriti meditation has now reached a level with more than 100 Ayurveda doctors practicing. Thousands of people benefited through improving their quality of life. I welcome Dr. K.V. Dilip Kumar Sir, Chairman and Management Trustee, Smriti Institute, for delivering his welcome speech. Sir.
Thank you, Shainas, for that kind words. Respected Dr. Jayadevan, Chairman of this function, respected Padma Shri Vaidya Rajesh Koteja ji, respected Skrenik Elena Barizovna, respected Dr. P.M. Warrior, respected Urasov Viktor Vasilievich, and all other dignitaries and guests who have gathered here for the inauguration of Smriti Meditation Research Institute of Therapeutic Innovation. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all for this function. 23 years back, two stalwarts of Ayurveda and Yoga, late Dr. P.K. Warrior and Dr. H.R. Nagendra, of Vice Chancellor of S.V.S.A. University, Bangalore, have jointly lit the lamp to mark the inauguration of Clinical Research Institute for Yoga and Ayurveda in VPSV Ayurveda College, Kottakkal. So we carry the spirit of that lamp that indicate the reunion of Ayurveda and Yoga principles to explore new therapeutic tools to manage psychic and psychosomatic disorders. That inspirational light which is carried over has shown many valuable treasures hidden in the classics of Ayurveda. Smriti meditations is one such treasure evolved from the churning of that milky ocean of Ayurveda. Education and training in Smriti meditation started first in 2015 in People's Friendship University of Moscow. From 2019 onwards, basic and advanced courses are conducting for Ayurvedic doctors in Kottakkal Ayurveda School of Excellence of VPSV Ayurveda College, Kottakkal. Parallelly, we have conducted few such courses in Germany and Spain also. Currently, 4 research studies are undergoing in PG departments of Kottakkal Ayurveda College, with the intention of further popularizing the activities of Smriti. We found a Smriti Foundation Educational and Charitable Trust. Smriti Meditation Research Institute for Therapeutic Innovations is an organization functioning under the trust. Institute is planning to conduct in-depth research in Smriti meditation and to begin various courses relating to Smriti meditation and allied subjects. We have already conducted a group psychotherapeutic meditation therapy for public. We are planning more such courses. With that introductory remarks, I shall move on to the responsibility shouldered upon me. Dr. C.V. Jayadevan, Principal, VPSV Ayurveda College, is one of the prominent members of our mission from the very beginning. He is one of the founder trustees of Smriti Meditation Educational Charitable Trust. Welcome you, sir, to preside over this function. Despite having immense responsibilities and rigorous schedule, Padma Shri Vaidya Rajesh Koteja ji has wholeheartedly accepted our request to inaugurate the institute. Sir, I personally cherish your visit to Moscow on our invitation to take part in the All-Russian Ayurveda Congress. I heard from the very heart, I welcome you, sir, on behalf of the trustees and all other those who are gathered here. Madam Skrinik Elena Borisovna, we are blessed by your presence in our function. An international personality who started her career as a medical doctor and reached one of the highest positions in the Russian Federation. I personally felt honored when she invited me to guide her to do Smriti meditation sessions. On behalf of all gathered here from the depth of my heart, I welcome you to the function. Dr. P. Madhavankutti Vaidya, sir, the torchbearer of a great tradition in Ayurveda, is always a great motivator and supporter of Smriti meditation activities. We are grateful to you for accepting our invitation as chief guest and agreed to release the e-book Smriti meditation. Welcome you, sir. As the director of Institute of Oriental Medicine, People's Friendship University of Moscow, Urasov Viktor Vasilievich is always promoting Smriti meditation in Moscow and in Russia. We have conducted several courses in the institute. On behalf of all, I welcome you, sir. I welcome Kasakova Eugenia Alexandrovna. She is working with me for a long time, and she is the editor of the book which is going to release today. And also I welcome Dr. Naushad Ali Tachapramban. He is a old student of Kottakkal Ayurveda College and then went on to study modern medicine in Russia. He did his graduation and post-graduation, and he is running a very prestigious Ayurveda center in Moscow. And he is the one who provided the first platform to start practicing Smriti meditation in Moscow. I welcome you, sir. Upendra Arya is my good friend. He is conducting, he is having a institute of yoga and Ayurveda in Barcelona, Spain. He has provided us for platform to conduct many courses in his institute. I welcome you, sir, for the felicitation. And Christine Petzoid, she came to Kottakkal as a patient, but later she became a propagator of Smriti meditation, and she studied Smriti meditation in different courses, and she has initiated to conduct some courses in Germany also. I am very thankful to her, and I welcome her also for this felicitation. And Dr. M.V. Vinod Kumar, very close person to me, just like Dr. C.V. Jayadevan, he is also one of the co-founders of this trust, and from the very beginning from the time of the Kriya, he is working with us, and he is contributing a lot to develop the theoretical concepts of the Smriti meditation and all. I am welcoming him he will be delivering the vote of thanks. Welcome, Dr. Vinod Kumar, please. I welcome all the doctors who have undergone the training in Smriti meditation, and many of you, I know that you are practicing very well the Smriti meditation in your clinics, and all other doctors who have participated in this program, and all my friends and well-wishers who are attending this conference. Please, I wholeheartedly welcome you to this function. Thank you once again to all, and welcome you once again. Please be with us to be in this inaugural function as well as in the webinar followed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to invite Dr. C.V. Jaydevan, sir, Trust Board Member, Smriti Foundation, currently Principal, Vaidirekna PSY Ayurveda College, Kottakkal, who is working in the field of mental health for more than 2 decades and guiding many postgraduate scholars from the Department of Manovigyan eva Manasaroga, Ayurveda Psychiatry. I welcome Dr. Jaydevan, sir, for Presidential Address.
Namaste all. Respected Vaidya Rajesh Kotecha, Secretary to Government of India, Ministry of Ayush, Dr. P.M. Warrior, the Managing Trustee and Chief Visitor of Ayurvedishala Kottakkal, the prestigious institution in India, Dr. Skrinik Lena Bersovina, the former Minister of Agriculture, Russian Federation, and Dr. Urasov Viktor Vislyovich, Director IVM, People's Friendship University of Russia, Moscow, and all other dignitaries, the Trust Board members of Smoothie Foundation, and all other dignitaries who are assembled here. It is glad to be a part of this inaugural ceremony of Smriti Meditation Research Institute for Therapeutic Innovation, Smriti, and this function is being organized today, October 10th, the World Mental Health Day, and the theme of the day is mental health in an unique world, unequal world. I feel this is as an opportunity which entrusts all of us in the medical fraternity to work for providing mental health support to all those who are in need around the globe. And Ayurveda has its own role in fulfilling that goal. I am glad that a new venture is being inaugurated on this particular day itself. Though there is an immense scope for Ayurveda in the field of psychiatry, many of the contemporary philosophies of Ayurveda, psychotherapy tools like Jnana, Vijnana, Dhairya, Smriti, Samadhi, remained as theory for decades without getting explored. Indian tradition in knowledge of psychology, psychotherapy, and mental health are deeply rooted in Upanishads, Vedas, and Darshanas, etc. The crux of this knowledge is not properly experimented and experienced in a proper way even now. Incorporating such theories, Ayurvedic psychotherapy was developed into a wonderful technique called Smriti meditation by none other than our Dr. Kevin Kumar. I really appreciate him. It's a very long effort of last 30 years. This is the best opportunity, I think, to congratulate him for developing such a wonderful tool. This function is a venue of the release of two valuable books on Ayurveda, as mentioned. It is on Smoothie meditation, followed by an annual webinar, Smoothie Vaibhavam. The book covers the basics of Ayurveda psychotherapy. Like the usual conference, the seminar consists of five lectures based on the experience of Ayurveda doctors who are involved in the practice of Smriti meditation. A group of Ayurveda doctors are already trained in this field to deliver prompt service globally. Smriti Trust was created with the intention of developing research activities in 2020, under which this institute was conceptualized. We are planning to associate this institute with several other academic centers to provide patient care and research, particularly in the field of Smriti meditation. I expect the institution will become a global nodal center to initiate such activities. The popularity of this practice, this Ayurveda psychotherapy, this Smriti meditation in countries like Russia, Germany, Spain, etc., is much appreciable, and presence of experts from such countries here make this event more valuable and attractive. I hope this kind of international collaborations will reinforce the popularity of Ayurveda and psychotherapy. With these words, I wish all success to this new venture. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. Vaidya Rajesh Kotecha, currently Secretary of Ministry of Ayush in the Government of India. He was the former Vice Chancellor of Gujarat Ayurveda University, Jamnagar. A recipient of Global Ayurveda Physician Award, Ayurveda Ratna Award, and also the fourth highest civilian award, Padma Shri for Medicine in 2015. It's an honor to have you here, sir. I request Vaidya Kotesha, sir, for inaugurating the institute with his blessings.
Chairman of the session, Dr. C.V. Jaidevan, Dr. P.M. Warrior, Managing Trustee and Chief Physician, Arya Shala, Dr. Skimik Elina Borisonova, former Minister of Agriculture, Russian Federation, Dr. Urazov Viktor Vasilievich, Director IBM, People's Friendship University of Russia, Moscow, other dignitaries, trust board members of Smriti Foundation, and all other distinguished invitees gathered here. I feel so delighted to address you all today on this special inaugural session on the occasion of Smriti Meditation Research Institute for Therapeutic Innovations. On behalf of Ministry of Ayush, I extend my sincere appreciation to team behind this venture. Today, on 10th October, whole world is celebrating World Mental Health Day. The campaign slogan for this year is Mental Health Care for All. Let's make it a reality. I feel glad that this new venture is being inaugurated on this particular day itself. The theme of mental health is an unequal world underlines the pressing need to focus sufficiently on health beyond the physical in a sustained way in a world still struggling to fight the coronavirus. I feel this as an opportunity which entrusts all of us in the healthcare fraternities to work for providing mental health support to all those who are in need around the globe. Ayurveda has its own role in fulfilling that goal. Being a holistic science, Ayurveda explores the symbiotic relationship among the body, mind, and soul. It focuses on bringing harmony between mind and body and helps to build up psychophysiological health, emotional harmony, and manage daily stress and its consequences. Over the past year and a half, COVID has taken up the spotlight and it continues to do so. We have seen the world go through a variety of challenges and one of which being mental health issues. The psychological impact of COVID has spanned across multiple generations. Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, has contributed the inherent expertise of Ayurveda and Yoga and other Ayush sciences through advisories and guidelines to help with these psychological challenges during this period. To deal with the issues, many countries have embraced our suggestions. According to the WHO, 7.5% Indians suffer from mental health disorders, depression and anxiety being the most common, and this number has risen over the years. Ayush plays an important role in catering to mental well-being in India. The policies of the Government of India are to promote mental health and well-being in society. The National Health Policy 2017 makes targets for achieving good health, including mental and spiritual health of the population through the integrated and holistic approach. There are good number of studies in different aspects of mental health and well-being in Ayurveda and yoga with wonderful results, and they need to be taken forward for the benefit of the public at large. A lot more initiatives are underway to envision the goal of accessible and affordable healthcare for all with a holistic approach. I am glad to know that the Smriti practice is popular in many countries, and also two valuable books on Ayurveda and Smriti meditation are being released today. I am sure that these kinds of innovative practices will add further momentum to the popularity of the Ayurveda science. I wish all the success and hope for the fruitful deliberations. Namaste. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your enlightening words and inaugurating our institute. It's a great honor for me to introduce and welcome the guest of honor of this startlingly beautiful evening. Dr. Skrenik Lena Barizona served as the first female Minister of Agriculture of the Russian Federation between March 2009 and May 2012. She is the recipient of Medal of Order of Merit for the Fatherland, 2nd class, and Gold Medal for the contribution to the development of agro-industrial complex. Basically, a medical doctor turned businesswoman and molding into a bureaucrat. I'm extremely privileged to invite our guest of honor this evening, Dr. Skrenik Lena Barizona, and I also welcome ma'am for the launching of our website. Ma'am, please.
Уважаемый президент и все высокопоставленные лица, все участники церемонии. Здоровье, безусловно, самое необходимое, что есть в нашей жизни.
Respected President, other dignitaries, and all the participants of this ceremony, health is actually the most needed thing in our life.
И при этом я очень рада, что пришло время разработать инновационные методы лечения, именно те, которыми занимался и занимается наш уважаемый профессор Дилип Кумар.
It's a high time to develop some innovative treatment modalities to meet the needs of the population, and especially I appreciate the method which was developed by our respected professor Dilip Kumar.
Особенно важно, что все методы, которые он использует, они доказали свою эффективность.
It's very important that method which he is using, it has already proved its efficacy.
Замечательно, что институт, занимающийся обучением, исследованием и практикой Смрити и медитации, открывается непосредственно во Всемирный день психического здоровья.
It's significant that the institute dealing with education, research, and the practice of Smriti meditation is found up on this wonderful day, the World Mental Health Day.
Я сердечно поздравляю профессора Дилип Кумара и его команду с таким достижением.
My heartfelt congratulations to Professor Dilip Kumar and all his team for this result.
Россия и Индия – давние и добрые партнеры по многим направлениям. И я очень рада, что и это направление инноваций в развитии здоровья также наиболее прогрессивное и совместное с нами, с Россией и с Индией.
Russia and India are good and long-term partners in many spheres. And I'm very glad that now we are partners in this very important sphere, in this medicinal and scientific field.
Я очень высокого мнения о возможностях йоги и аюрведы.
I highly appreciate both yoga and Ayurveda and their potential.
Мы будем прилагать все усилия для того, чтобы развивать эти направления в России.
we'll try our best to promote these two things in Russia and to develop this.
Особая благодарность профессору Дилипкумару за его то, что он представил на территории России, работая в Москве, все возможности Smriti Meditation.
I'm very grateful to Professor Dilip Kumar that he showed all the effect of Smriti meditation here in Russia.
Я очень рада принять участие в сегодняшнем мероприятии.
I'm very happy to take part in this important event.
И официально заявляю, что сайт Smriti Meditation института запущен.
And I formally declare that the website smritimeditation.com is launched.
Спасибо.
Thank you very much.
Спасибо.
Thank you, ma'am, for your encouraging and delightful words and for launching the website. Now, let's move on to the release of e-book on Smriti meditation. Dr. P. Madhavan Kuttiwarrier, currently Managing Trustee and Chief Physician, Ayurvedishala Kottakkal. He always promoted and encouraged Smriti meditation from its inception period. He also extends his great support in conducting courses on Smriti meditation through Kottakkal Ayurveda School of Excellence. Dr. Warrior had held various positions as President of TCMC, State Ayurveda Advisory Committee member, and member of Scientific Advisory Group constituted by Central Council for Research in Ayurvedic Sciences, New Delhi. He was awarded the Dhananjali Award in 2014. I welcome our Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. P. Madhavan Kuttiwarrier, sir, for his speech and for the release of e-book on Smriti meditation thereafter. Sir, please.
Namaste. Vaidya Rajesh Kottechaji, Secretary, Department of Ayush, Government of India, who is inaugurating this function. Dr. Jayadevan, Principal, VPSV Ayurveda College, Kottakkal, who is presiding over this function. Dr. Dilip Kumar and other dignitaries, participants participating from various places. A very good evening to all of you. I am extremely glad to be a part of this event, a novel and noble venture, the formalization of Smriti Foundation Education Charitable Trust. Smriti literally means recollections. In this context, it depicts the recollections of the subconscious, which would have immense potentials to channelize one's mind and body either positively or negatively. If later it somatizes and manifests into various forms of ailments. Smriti meditation is proven to be a powerful technique to track this mode of manifestation by intervening at appropriate levels of one's psychosomatic temperament. An innovative and improvised way of transforming a person to new levels of mindfulness and bliss. In fact, that ensures way and means for a physical, mental, and spiritual state of healthy being in a hassle-free and enjoyable manner. As appropriately titled, Smriti here depicts an acronym too, Smriti Meditation Research Institute for Therapeutic Innovations. Dr. Dilip Kumar, former professor and HOD, Department of Swasthavrtam, VPSV Ayurveda College, Kottakkal, the person behind this meaningful endeavor deserves good and great deal of appreciation for having put his genuine and sincere efforts in the service of ailing community, employing the tool of therapeutic mindfulness in his own unique way. It brings great hopes to know that all these initiatives are going to be coordinated under the umbrella body Smriti Foundation Education and Charitable Trust, conceived upon the ideology of standing for institutionalization, education, research, and practice of Smriti meditation and its allied areas. It happens to be quite pertinent to launch a program like this on this day as we observed World Mental Health Day with the theme Mental Health in an Unequal World. Let us hope Smriti would reach out to the needy in spite of all inequalities shown by the pandemic. I wish the Trust and its members a bright future ahead by brightening the world all who come in search of the light which it carries. Let this trust remain as an icon of purity and service devoted to the health and wellness of the society. On behalf of everyone assembled over here, I would happily release the ebook on Smriti meditation. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you for your inspiring words, sir. Now the ebook will be available for free download from smritimeditation.com. Next, for the release of the book Ayurveda for Health and Longevity in Russian translation, I would like to invite Dr. Urazo Victor Vasilevich, Director, Institute of Oriental Medicine, People's Friendship University of Russia, Moscow. Sir, please.
Добрый день. Приветствую всех собравшихся, многоуважаемых гостей на этой церемонии.
Hello. I welcome all the dignitaries and guests assembled at this ceremony.
С профессором Дилип Кумаром нас связывает долгое и плодотворное сотрудничество и дружба. Он стал первым индийским профессором на кафедре аюрведы Института восточной медицины РУДН, деятельность которого началась в 2015 году.
We have a long and fruitful cooperation and friendship with Professor Dilip Kumar. He became the first Indian professor at the Ayurveda department of the Institute of Oriental Medicine of Rudan University. And our activities began in 2015.
Его эрудиция, мягкий и внимательный подход к слушателям мгновенно завоевал сердца наших слушателей. Он вел курсы по введению в аюрведу, по аюрведической медицине, по йога-терапии, аюрведическому массажу и практикам долголетия.
His knowledge, his gentle and attentive approach to his listeners instantly won the hearts of the students. He taught courses on Introduction to Ayurveda and Ayurvedic medicine for doctors, yoga therapy, Ayurvedic massage, and longevity practices.
Созданный профессором метод Смрити медитация совершенствовался в России. В связи с большой востребованностью аюрведической психотерапии, интересом его пациентов и лечащих врачей, профессор начал проводить обучающие курсы по Смрити медитации в нашем институте.
Due to the great demand, the Smriti meditation method created by Professor was explored and used with Russian patients. And due to the great demand of the patients and physicians, Professor began to conduct training courses on Smriti meditation at the Institute of Oriental Medicine.
Интерес к этим курсам не угасает, а лишь повышается с каждым годом. И ограничения 2020-2021 года, связанные с пандемией, открыли совершенно новые возможности для обучения и для сотрудничества. До этого никто не мог предположить, что метод Смрити медитация будет так здорово работать онлайн, что лечение и обучение может объединить людей и врачей из Индии, Австралии, России, Европы и Америки.
Interest in these courses does not fade away. It only grows year by year. And the COVID constraints of 2020, 2021, opened entirely new avenues for learning and collaboration. Before that, no one could even imagine that Smriti meditation method will work so well online. That treatment and training can bring together people and doctors from India, Australia, Russia, Europe, and America.
И вот теперь мы являемся свидетелями рождения нового института, института Смрити, воплощения мечты уважаемого профессора Дилип Кумара. От всей души поздравляю профессора с этим событием, желаем успехов институту Смрити и его исследовательской просветительской работе.
And now we are witnessing the birth of a new institute, the Smriti Institute, the embodiment of Professor Dilip Kumar's dreams. We sincerely congratulate Professor on this event. We wish Smriti Institute success in its research and educational activities. We are happy.
Да. Мы счастливы быть российским представительством профессора, его института и его метода в России.
And we are happy to be the Russian representative office of the professor, his institute, and his method in Russia.
Мне выпала честь еще поделиться с вами еще одной большой и важной новостью. На днях вышла в свет новая книга профессора Дилип Кумара на русском языке «Аюрведа для здоровья и долголетия». Интерес к аюрведе в России может быть пока не такой массовый, как это хотелось бы, но он компенсируется глубиной и искренностью энтузиастов аюрведы. Мы наблюдаем это у наших слушателей, огромное стремление узнать об аюрведе из достоверных источников. Вот эта книга.
I had an honor to share with you one more big and important news. Recently, just this week, a new book by Professor Dilip Kumar in Russian language, Ayurveda for Health and Longevity, was published. Interest in Ayurveda in Russia may not yet be massive, but it's compensated by the depth and sincerity of Ayurvedic enthusiasts. And we observe in our students a great desire to learn about Ayurveda from the most reliable sources.
Эта книга написана не просто замечательным индийским аюрведическим врачом и опытным преподавателем, а человеком, который много лет прожил в России и знаком с нашими особенностями, можно сказать, говорит с нами на одном языке. Такое сочетание истинного знания аюрведы и понимания наших реалий не найти в другой доступной литературе, по крайней мере в России.
And finally, a book appeared written not just by a wonderful Indian Ayurvedic doctor, an experienced teacher, but by a person who has lived in Russia for many years and is familiar with our peculiarities. And one might say he speaks the same language with us. This combination of the true knowledge of Ayurveda and understanding of our reality cannot be found in any other available literature.
Жажда знания об аюрведе, запрос на учебную литературу студентов курсов введения в аюрведу и квинтэссенции аюрведы послужили стимулом для написания этой книги. Можно сказать, что слушатели курсов являются соавторами этой книги. Ведь сам профессор говорил, что в предисловии, что именно вопросы слушателей вдохновили его и помогли сделать материал доступным широкому кругу читателей, живущих за пределами Индии.
The thirst for knowledge about Ayurveda, the request for educational literature of our students of the courses of Introduction to Ayurveda and Quintessence of Ayurveda were the stimulus for writing and creating this book. We can even say that students of the courses are co-authors of this book because the professor himself says in the preface that it was the students' questions that inspired him and helped him to make the material easily acceptable and digestible for the wide range of readers living outside of India.
Поздравляю профессора и всех российских энтузиастов аюрведы с выходом этой книги. Желаю большого успеха Институту Смрити и делу Смрити медитации в России. Всего хорошего.
Congratulations to the professor and to all Russian Ayurvedic enthusiasts on the release of this book. We wish great success to the Smriti Institute and the Smriti meditation in Russia. Thank you all.
Thank you for those thoughtful and inspiring words, sir. For introducing the book, I would now like to invite Kazakova Yugina Alexandrovna, the editor of the book Ayurveda for Health and Longevity in Russian language. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Respected President, respect other dignitaries and all the participants attending the function. Dear friends, so at first place, I want to thank Sattva Publishing House and personally Alexander Zhuravlev for this publication. I'm also grateful to Nadezhda Frolova for her inspiration and constant support. I have to note also that this is not the first book published in Russia. It is the second book. The first book is the translation of his textbook on clinical yoga. The new book is a concentrated description of the basic principles and practices of Ayurveda. As Viktor Vasilievich told, there is a great need for such type of literature in Russia. It's very important that the book is written by an Ayurveda professional and in accordance with the Ayurveda classics. Unfortunately, still, there are some wrong ideas about Ayurveda here in Russia sometimes. That's why it is very important that this book appeared. The book consists of 11 chapters, such as Prakriti, Vikriti, basic principles of treatment, Ayurvedic procedures, diet for longevity, yoga, Ayurveda pharmacology, Ayurveda pharmacy, Rasayana. And recommendations given in the book are taken into account the Russian conditions and the Russian habits. For example, the diet chapter includes an explanation of different Russian dishes and its influence onto the doshas. The accessible language of the book makes it possible for anyone to understand the characteristics of his body, to evaluate the changes which are happening, and to maintain his health according to Ayurveda recommendations. It is especially valuable that the book contains a separate chapter about Ayurveda psychotherapy and Smriti meditation. This information is expanding understanding of the holistic approach and a great potential of Ayurveda to our public. Currently, the next book is on translation. The book is devoted to theoretical and practical aspects of Smriti meditation. I would like to add that working with Professor for many years, I had a good opportunity to observe the good effect of Smriti meditation, and not only on healing process, not on physical health, but also on personality and even the life perspectives of people. I have my own experience also, and Smriti meditation helped me to cope with some private life problems and difficulties. That's why I highly believe in potential of Smriti, and I'm very happy that this method will be studied at a new level in the opening institute. And I hope it will spread widely for the benefit of many, many, many people. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for a brief yet detailed introduction. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Naushad Ali Tachaparamban, a graduate of BMS from Vaidiragnam PSParya Ayurveda College, Kottakkal, who did his graduation and post-graduation in modern medicine from the First Medical University of Russia, Moscow. I welcome Dr. Naushad Ali, Chief Physician, Atreya Ayurveda, Moscow, for felicitation. Sir, please.
Respected President, scholars, dignitaries, and others, I extend my gratitude for the organizers of Smriti Meditation Research Institute for Therapeutic Innovation to invite me in such a function. So, being the organizer and the chief physician of Atreya Ayurveda, I am very proud and very happy that the Smriti meditation got worldwide acceptance and popularity among the Ayurveda doctors, modern doctors, psychologists, and so many other scientists. So, Smriti meditation started in Atreya Ayurveda, the clinical applications of Smriti meditations in 2007 and 2008 by Professor Kevin Kumar. And me and all other doctors are the first trained in Smriti meditation. And we are using widely here this tool to treat psychosomatic disorders successfully. So, as a student of this, I am still studying this one, and we just understand the first salutation sloga, words of Ashtanga Hridaya, the Ragadi Ragan. So we are saluting the foremost doctor who treating the anxiety, delusion, greed, depression. So this is the basic cause of most of the disease. So I here to salute my guru, my best friend, and Dilip Kumar. He collected all the knowledge from Ayurveda and yoga, traveled a lot, compiled all the knowledge, meditated on it, and make a fine and sophisticated tool. And it is very simple to give us for treating psychosomatic disorders. The outcome and result of Smriti meditation is unimaginable. So it should be included, it should be institutionalized and included in the undergraduate and postgraduate curriculum. And I think we need the help of all the Ayurvedic scholars, yoga teachers, yoga scholars, I think, and psychologists, modern doctors, neuroscientists for the further research and the application of the Smriti meditation. I once again thank the organizer and wish the Smriti Meditation Trust as the success to attain the goal in near future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would now like to invite Mr. Upendra Arya, Satvik DAY Ayurveda and Yoga, Barcelona, to speak a few words. So you're not audible.
My mic was closed. Now?
Yes, sir.
Namaste to everyone. And thank you very much to invite me to have a small talk and participate with all a big family of Ayurveda. And I'm a student of Dr. Dilip from last 5 years. And when he arrived to my life, I was already 3 years in Ayurveda before with another, my master, Swami Jyoti Mayananda in Italy. And when Dr. Dilip came to my life, he started organizing the teaching of Ayurveda. So I have learned Ayurveda from a different master, but into a holistic way. But Dr. Dilip has this skill of transmitting with the order of Ayurveda. So he was able to reorganize myself with Ayurveda, and then we organized a Ayurvedic teachers training course. We call it Master in Ayurveda. And he started to explain every weekend a different concept of Ayurveda, like the Tridosha theory, then the treatments, Panchakarma, and then the Rasayana. And he also added the treatments with Smriti meditation. So I was known with the treatments of Ayurveda, but when everyone was speaking about prajna aparadha, intellectual error, but there was no treatment for this. I mean, very few people, I think, do the correction on the intellectual error. And then Dr. Dilip introduced this, Sattvajaya to reduce the prajna aparadha. And I've been now from 5 years learning from him this, and I have already started working with my students with this therapy. In my website, Ayurveda Yoga Barcelona, I already have mentioned consulting specific for Smriti meditation privately. And what I have seen, it has really helped people to understand the cause problem of their disease. Whenever I have joined the consultation with Dr. Dilip to help translating my students and my clients here, so what I have seen is amazing changes. The disease transform into smoothness of doshas. So a person came 3 years before. He had problem of sinus problem from last 25 years. And he did not know what was the cause of his no breathing, and he was a psychologist himself. Then he came to Dr. Dilip and to our consultation here, and in 2 hours of consulting to him in the meditation, he was able to start breathing normal. And then Dr. Dilip also introduced him Anutailam. So this man is able to breathe now. Thanks for the Smriti meditation, he was able to understand the cause of the disease. And then from the herbal treatments of Ayurveda and the self-discipline Dinacharya, he is much better now. So I think it's an evolutionary subject to put it into practice in Ayurveda, like all the other treatments, but this is very powerful treatment, Smriti meditation. So because it brings you to the main karma of the destiny. The disease has a karma which is in the habit now. So if we can find out the karma behind the disease, the emotional blockages or other heavy karmas, then really we can help so many people to cure their disease, at least to live into a balanced state of Tridosha. So thank you very much, Dr. Dilip, to bring this knowledge into light and do this effort to research on Smriti, the subconscious memory. And I'll be very much always with you to support Smriti meditation and investigate. I will be also investigating with you. I'll be part of this investigation. So thank you very much to all, and lots of love and grace of yoga and the Supreme Soul. Dhanyavad.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your valuable insights with us. I invite Ms. Christine Petzold from Germany for the felicitation.
So, namaste everyone. I'm really honored to speak on this day, and I'm really grateful to be invited to, the opening of the Smriti. Well, I myself was a patient in Kottakkal at 2019 when I first came in contact with the Smriti techniques. And with the help of Dr. Dilip, I was able to identify the causes of my diseases and to heal them. So this was my actually first contact to that. And since then, everything in my life has changed completely. My beliefs, my thoughts, my relationship to my family, relationships to actually all people. Also, I can truly say that Smriti meditation has saved my life in several ways, and completely turned it around. So I was really grateful to get to know Smriti meditation as a patient. And I realized really quickly, even at the moment I was still a patient in Kottakkal, that this technique is really important. And it's not just a technique, it's an essential tool one needs to heal himself holistically. And it's a tool to live a happy and healthy life. And so I said, well, I want to spread this. I want to promote this technique to other people, to other patients, in order to heal, to live a healthy life. So I decided to learn, and I went to Moscow University and took a course with Dr. Dilip. And I learned the techniques behind the Smriti meditation. And so it started that we also invited professor to Germany and had a course here in our place. We have a yoga center in my home. And we were really happy that the professor came to Germany and held a course to an audience of doctors, psychologists, therapists, pharmacists. So Smriti meditation, it was a first step to get to know it in Germany. And well, in the meantime, we have opened our own practice. So clients have the opportunity to do this meditation here in Germany as well. And right now, I'm also translating Dr. Dilip's book on Smriti meditation into German language. And I'm looking forward to publish it and to spread this information about the Smriti. And I'm really, really happy to see this opening, and I'm really pleased that you will have the Smriti Vaibhavam, so we can get in touch with other practitioners and share and connect. It's really important to do that. And I hope that we will get together again soon in person, real life, to have another course maybe with a professor in Germany. And thank you very much to Professor Dilip. Thank you also very much for the university in Moscow that you started these programs. And well, I hope, I wish you all the best. And thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for your loving and inspiring words, ma'am. Now, I would request Dr. M.V. Vinod Kumar Sir, Trustee of Smriti Foundation, currently working as Professor and HOD, Department of Samhita, Sanskrit and Siddhanta, Vaidirignam P.S. Varya Ayurveda College, Kottakkal, for delivering vote of thanks.
Very good evening and namaste to all the respected dignitaries and all the distinguished guests gathered here from different parts of the world. It fills us with immense pride and pleasure today to see how an activity initiated at Kottakkal 23 years back reaches to an international appreciation. The gathering here itself proves that Smriti meditation already became an international thing, which started from the land of Ayurveda, from Kottakkal. This day marks a great leap in the history of Ayurvedic psychotherapy, or Ayurveda itself, where an institute is getting inaugurated exclusively dedicated for Ayurvedic psychotherapy or Smriti meditation. And already this function had laid down many landmarks in the life of Smriti meditation. That is the release of an e-book called Smriti Meditation, and release of the translation of Ayurvedic textbook to Russian language, etc. And I personally feel highly obliged to be a part of this venture as the member of the trust board of Smriti Foundation. This session was presided over by Dr. C.V. Jayadevan, who is one among the backbones of this institute and the trust. And on behalf of the organizers and all gathered here, I extend my sincere gratitude for his presence. This was inaugurated by Vaidya Rajesh Kotecha, who mentioned many things about the development of Ayurveda and psychotherapy in his inaugural speech. And on behalf of the trust board, we extend gratitude to Dr. Rajesh Kotecha also. Dr. Skrinik Elena Barisona, Madam, the former Minister of Agriculture of Russian Federation, blessed this event with her presence, and she was the guest of honor, and she launched the website of Smriti Meditation or Smriti Institute. So on behalf of the organizers, we extend gratitude to Madam also. Chief guest of this session was Dr. P.M. Warrior, who is always with us as an inspiring force, as a guardian, and as a pioneer of Ayurveda, the managing trustee of Ayurveda Sala. Wholeheartedly, we extend our gratitude to Dr. P.M. Warrior sir also. The book was released by Mr. Dr. Razov Viktor Vasilievich, Director of People Friendship University, Russia. And we are thankful to him for his presence here. And the introduction of the book was done by Mrs. Madam Kosakova Eugenia Alexandronova, editor of the book. We extend our gratitude to all these dignitaries. And the felicitation was done by Dr. Naushad Ali and Dr. Upendra Arya and Mrs. Christina Petzold from Germany. All these guests prove that Smriti meditation is already under the purview of an international fame. And the words from all these dignitaries prove their commitment to the field and their love and affection towards our beloved Dilip sir. And Dilip sir was the person who is behind all these activities. He delivered the welcome speech, and on an official purpose, I extend my great thanks to Dilip sir also. And all those gathered here from different parts of the world, and the trust board members, and the comparing done by Dr. Shahnaz, and the experts in Smriti, participants of Smriti meditation courses, and I can see many of the experts from outside, like Dr. Madan Tangavelu, etc., are part of this session now, and I'm not naming all. All of them, we extend our heartfelt thanks to all of them. And the next session will be a seminar on the experience of Smriti meditation by different experts in the field of the same. And Dr. Naishu, Dr. Zore, Dr. Sita Chandran, Dr. Lukman, and Dr. Mohammad Safi will be dealing with the papers. In the beginning itself, as an advance gratitude, we extend our gratitude, thanks to all of them. And once again, thanks to all who gathered here from different parts of the world. And I think this will be a meaningful session or meaningful inauguration, meaningful beginning for a great institute which will be flourished internationally in the coming years. Thanks to all who gathered here once again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. With this, we come to the end of the inaugural session. We will be beginning the annual meet of Smriti Vaibhavam 2021 shortly. Till then, I request everyone to stay with us. Thank you.
We live in an era in which mental health is the first priority for survival. From early childhood, mind gets exposed to various challenges, which in turn lead to many psychic and psychosomatic health issues. Smriti meditation is a psychotherapeutic tool to manage such problems. Smriti meditation is found to be effective in psychic conditions like anxiety, depression, fear, aggression, guilt, lack of self-esteem, and psychosomatic conditions like asthma, gastrointestinal tract disorders, headache, insomnia, hypertension, and autoimmune disorders. Scope of Smriti meditation has been identified in managing interpersonal relationships, personality disorders, lack of concentration, lack of memory, and work-related stress. Trained Ayurveda doctors can help a person to integrate visual, auditory, kinesthetic, intellectual, behavioral, and emotional dimensions of a problem, thereby helping them to associate with their past experiences in creating a universal awareness. As the person evolves into a higher state of meditation, emotional blocks are cleared and solution emerges as an insight. These insights helps to heal many psychic and psychosomatic illnesses. Basic concepts of this method are taken from the Ayurveda classical text Charaka Samhita. When compared to other techniques of meditation, Smriti is a personalized, interactive, guided method focusing mostly on therapeutic efficacy on unhealthy mind and body. This treatment is most successful in persons who are voluntarily asking for a help within the age limit of 10 to 60 years. The prognosis is not promising in case of those under the influence of narcotics, psychedelic drugs. It differs from other psychotherapeutic techniques due to the autonomy of the client's privacy, self-realization, and self-correction. The ultimate goal of Smriti meditation is rediscovering oneself by experiencing absolute knowledge, happiness, and bliss. For further details, please visit www.smritimeditation.com.
Welcome back all to the annual meet on Smriti Vaibhavam 2021. Smriti Vaibhavam is a series of scientific sessions we conduct every month. The doctors who have completed both the certificate programs in Smriti Meditation and advanced course on Smriti Meditation gather every month through this platform and discuss their Smriti Meditation experiences by presenting case reports. Today is the annual meet of Smriti Vaibhavam, an annual webinar on Smriti Meditation. For that, we have 5 guest speakers, Dr. Naishu Abdul Aziz, Dr. Zora Hashmi Afrapoli, Dr. Sida Chandran, Dr. Lukmanul Hakim Kalatingal, and Dr. Mohammad Safi PI. They would be sharing their opinions and findings with us today. The webinar would be chaired by Dr. K.V. Dilip Kumar Sir, Chairman, Smriti Foundation. I welcome all the distinguished guests and the inquisitive audience of today's to the webinar. I would now like to invite Dr. K.V. Dilip Kumar Sir to commence the session by speaking a few words.
So, now we are starting Smriti Vaibhavam webinar session. You know that Smriti meditation is in an infantile stage. Of course, though the concept of the Smriti meditation is very well mentioned in Ayurveda classics, but we are rejuvenating this knowledge and we are trying to popularize it. So, of course, there are many teething problems, and it should be suitable for the present day. And now we are experiencing a lot of different diseases and all. We are not sure that how this method is effective in all these different types of diseases. But luckily, and I should say very proudly, that all our doctors who have undergone the training in Smriti meditation are very enthusiastic in doing their practice, and they are documenting all of them. And so today in this webinar, they will be presenting, out of that 5 of our trained Smriti meditation doctors will be presenting their papers, and we can have some debates and discussions. Like that only any science will develop. There will be many lacunae in the methodology or practicing and all. So better you have to point out such things, so that such suggestions also very important for us to further develop this technology and popularize it all over the world. So with that words, I can hand over the mic to the presenters.
Before we start the session, I would like to remind the audience to put their queries and doubts in the chat box, which will be answered by our speakers at the end of each session. Dr. Naishu Abdul Aziz, who is a professional in Smriti meditation, completing both the basic and advanced courses on Smriti meditation, has presented various papers in national and international seminars. She has won prizes in national teaching competition. A skilled counselor, she has worked as a part of post-disaster management team at Nilambur after 2019 flood and counseled the seekers in the midst of COVID-19 pandemic. Currently pursuing post-graduation in the Department of Swasthavrta at Vaidireknam PSWari Ayurveda College, Kottakkal, I welcome Dr. Naishu Abdul Aziz to present her paper on the topic, A Clinical Trial on Effect of Smriti Meditation in Quality of Sleep in Non-Organic Insomnia. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Shanaz. Please let me to share my screen.
Yeah, please wait. We are working on it.
Good evening, one and all. Let me bring your attention to a startling disclosure of an 86-year-old man that he murdered his wife because she was deprived of sleep as she used to remain awake through the night due to the illness. This shows how dangerously a sleep deprivation or insomnia can affect a person's life and even could change a man into a beast. Growing prevalence of insomnia worldwide made people to think about incorporating insomnia management even in the business, such as insomnia gym. In this scenario, we have to discuss about the right and permanent solution for insomnia. Let me begin with the case. A man aged 36 approached our OPD with a presenting complaint of difficulty in initiating sleep for past 18 years. He was presented with irritation, anger, and helplessness. His short temper has been ruining his family life and profession. What do you think? Do you think that this emotion can be dealt with the drugs? No. So we go with meditation. So a detailed interrogation has came to know that there is a change in the sleep according to the location. Through the meditation, he realizes the cause of the anger is his sister-in-law who accused him as a thief behind a theft happened in his house when he was a teenager. Through the further sessions, he expressed his emotion as it, and at the end of the multiple sessions, he found a revelation that negative emotions cannot help him in any way and only can cause a self-harm. And he go for the option of taking sweet revenge against the person on the other hand. So the outcome of this meditation was the peace of mind, and the very next couple of months, he became the best performer in his company. This is just one case. So let me begin my presentation on a clinical trial on effect of Smriti meditation and quality of sleep in non-organic insomnia. I am Naishwa Abdulaziz, under the guidance of Dr. Anupama Krishnan, Associate Professor, and co-guidance of Dr. Kevin Kumar KV, Department of Sustavritta, BPSV Ayurveda College, Kottakkal. Non-organic insomnia is characterized by the unsatisfactory quantity and quality of sleep which is not associated with any disease, which is merely due to stress. The prevalence of insomnia is 33%, and among which the 2/3 of the insomnia belongs to the non-organic category. Now, what is the need and significance of this study? The poor quality of sleep has substantial societal and individual consequences. Insomnia and stress, being a vicious cycle, demands a psychosomatic approach. Pharmacological approach may lead to drug dependency and side effects. Aim of the study was to promote the Ayurvedic psychotherapeutic technique, which is drugless and cost-effective, and to capacitate the affected person in the self-management. The methodology used was the study design used uncontrolled clinical trial in the setting of Swasthavatta Department, BPSV Ayurveda College, Kottakkal. The population was outpatients of BPSV Ayurveda College Hospital, and sampling used was purposive, sampling sizes of 20 and study duration 18 months. The participants were screened using insomnia screening questionnaire, and sleep was rated using Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Index. Sleep diary for the patients was given for the self-recording. The inclusion criteria used were the participants fulfilling the diagnostic criteria of both sets aged between 20 and 55, PSQI score greater than 5, and those who are willing to give written consent. Exclusion criteria: non-organic insomnia due to substance abuse, circadian rhythm sleep disorders, medication for psychiatric ailments, breathing-related sleep disorders, pregnant and lactating mothers. Assessments were done on the 0th day, 15th day, and a follow-up on the 45th day. A detailed case taking was taken with an interrogation based on the onset. They were asked to detail the period of commencement, change in the sleep according to the location, recurrent dreams, association with any person, and association with any trauma. This detailed interrogation gave some clue about the cause behind their insomnia. The patient was made comfortable and instructions were given to relax. They were asked to state their problem, then done networking and funneling by the multidimensional analysis and asked to set a goal based on the expected benefits. In this way, Jnana Vijnana process went on. Guidance to deeper layer of consciousness gave them to the Smriti and at the end give some revelations and corrections which are the solutions of their emotions. Data analysis was done using paired t-test and repeated measures ANOVA for the data with a normal distribution, and the Wilcoxon sign rank test and Friedman's test for the data failed to fall in normal distribution. Moving on to the observations and analysis. These are some of the observation distribution of participants based on the satisfaction in their relationship. Among this, majority were of unsatisfactory relationship, which was supported by the study done et al. That interpersonal problems have greater insomnia severity. This was a distribution based on the occupation. Here it shows different streams ranging from student to professionals underwent with the participation. Housewives outnumber in this study, which was supported by a study by Duabike et al. That is, home stress is a significant factor for insomnia. As this is a kind of qualitative study, the emotions perceived were also recorded. The participants were presented with the emotions like neglect, self-pity, isolation, disappointment, hopelessness, guilt, which belongs to the domain sadness, and worry, uneasiness, anxiety, nervousness, tenseness, which belong to fear, and frustrations and agony, which comes under anger. In this study, most of the participants were presented with the emotion fear. And the emerged emotions were bliss, enthusiasm, triumph, hope, relief, contempt, optimism, which comes under joy, and amazement, which belongs to the factor surprise. The induction method used, frequently used method was the image of field, as the most of the participants were presented with the fear, so that to conquer that fear, this method was used. Image of road, crossroad, garden, and the kinesthetic feelings like pain and heaviness were also used. Going on to the statistical analysis. The effect of Smriti meditation on subjective sleep quality was found to be statistically significant at the level of p less than 0.001, and when compared between before the treatment and after the treatment and between the follow-up, it was found to be effective at p less than 0.001. Likewise, sleep latency, sleep duration, habitual sleep efficiency, sleep disturbances, daytime dysfunction has found to be effective at the level of p less than 0.001. When a sleep pattern was plotted on a graph based on the time of sleep initiation, it is found that there was an initial exacerbation after initial sessions, and later we can find that an improvement in the sleep was considerably noted. This initial exacerbation may be due to the probing of unsettled emotions, which was piled for a long time. After settling this emotion, it was found that sleep improved much considerably. As a kind of qualitative study, the verbatims of their participants was recorded. A participant initially reported that I feel as if to end my life as I'm dumb, but changed his opinion as my life is precious and I have to live happily for myself and for my parents, which shows the change in her attitude. Initially, a participant says that I can't do any work and I'm sluggish, which later changed as feel much energetic, which shows the implication in the physical domain. A participant which complains that my wife is not loyal changed to his attitude that those were my false thoughts to conceal my own flaws. And a girl told that I'm the cause for the financial burden, which was change in opinion that my worries can't help them, shows the change in the non-modifiable environmental risk factors. Participant, which who says no one to hear me, changed, I feel my heart lighten. And one who expressed as I'm abandoned later changed as I'm strong enough. I'm alone after my abroad life, realized that he himself has to change first. Person who says that my life was a failure changed that I have much time and potential to retrieve my life. This all shows the change in their attitude after the sessions. Going on to the discussion, non-organic insomnia is due to the absence of non-causative organic factor. In this case, sleep-preventing emotions have been internalized and persist. In this study, most of the participants were following sleep hygiene, which points to the factor that they have some stress. Psychosomatic approach is needed for this. We all know Prajnaparada is the cause of all diseases according to Ayurveda, which badly affects one's sattva. So, through sattva vajra chikitsa, he can be capacitated. Going on to the effect of Smoothie meditation on subjective sleep quality, it helps to emotions modulate the quality of sleep. It helps in the internalization of emotions, and hyperarousal can be cured by the Smoothie meditation sessions so that the awakenings number can be reduced. So, the probable mode of action is that Smriti meditation helped to increase in the self-awareness and in-depth understanding of the emotions, and thereby eliminating the negative emotions. This elimination, which may help them to increase their emotional intelligence and self-esteem, which may help them for the better stress management and coping ability. And also, the sessions help to stop the rumination of the emotions. This altogether may help to reduce the HPA axis hyperactivity, which may help to improve the sleep. The effect of Smoothie meditation was found to be effective in the 4 domains of quality of life, like physical domain, psychological domain, social domain, and environmental domain. The limitations of the study was time for meditation cannot be firmly prefixed as there can be individual variations. Number of sessions may vary, therefore a customized approach is needed. There were less compliance with the sleep diary. Reading expression wearing face masks was challenging. The recommendations, a comparison group or a control group can be added. Objective assessment of sleep and meditation can be added. Validated scale of sattva assessment could be added. Assessment of stress and emotions could be done. Meditation through online can be promoted through this owing to this pandemic situation. These are my references. A good laugh and a long sleep are the two best cures for anything. Thank you.
Very well done, Dr. Neshu. So, when we consider about mental health, often we feel that the sleep is the marker for a mental health. Like stool is a marker for our physical, like according to Ayurveda, at least it can be justified. If a person is having a good sleep, that is a best indication that he is almost having a good mental health. That is the reason why we have taken up the study of the insomnia at the initial stage. Because by managing insomnia, we are in fact managing many other associated ailments of the mental level. So I think Dr. Naishu has presented the paper, and it is the first research study conducted in a postgraduate department. So as she suggested that in the future we will be able to, I hope that we will be able to conduct more deeper research with using polysomnography kind of instruments. I hope that will be possible. Anyhow, if you have any questions, you may please ask. Or is there any questions in the chat box? Okay, then let's move on to the next presentation, please.
Dr. Zora Hashmi Afropoli was born in Iran and shifted to Belgium where she is practicing psychiatry. She has completed both the courses on Smriti meditation from Kottakkal Ayurveda School of Excellence, Kottakkal, through online mode. Currently, she is practicing Smriti meditation along with her psychiatry sessions. I welcome Dr. Zora Hashmi Afropoli to present her paper, Psychotherapy with Smriti Meditation in the Management of Binge Eating Disorder, a case study. Over to you, ma'am.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. I will start to share. I'm not finding my slides. I need help because yesterday it was fine, but today I cannot find.
You're already a co-host, ma'am. You can share the screen. Yes.
You are seeing my screen? Okay.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
It's okay?
Yes, yes.
Yes, okay. So it's a Smriti meditation in the management of eating disorder. So the case is a 36-year-old woman with eating disorder since she is 15-year-old with binge eating and vomiting every day. The episodes are uncontrolled eating urge, especially sweets during 2 hours with hot flush in the face and extreme fear and anxiety. And then she feels guilt and disgust about her behavior, and she used to self-vomit herself during 2 hours. She has a history of 2 hospitalizations and follow-up by a psychiatrist since then. She's receiving a lot of sleep medication like brotizolam, levomethomazine, trazodone, valerian, and pacifier for the sleep, and venlafaxine for the depression, and omeprazole. In the family history, the father and mother died from alcoholic cirrhosis in their 50s. During their childhood, she has been victim of parental physical and psychological violence and alcoholism. At very early age, she had the role of the mother in the family. She was her mother's confidant. She was responsible for any domestic task, and that mother used to seek for her help and security and break in her room after violence of her father and letting the patient worried all night. At 11-year-old, her mother kicked her father out and then began a period of financial problem with no warm water and no heater. And the patient was terrorized by the cold. And at that moment, she started to smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day and receive antidepressant and levomethomazine for sleep during the childhood. Yet. At the adolescence, at 15-year-old, the mother used to receive partners at home. The patient was becoming a young and attractive woman, and the mother started to criticize her physical appearance, and she started to feel guilty and disgusted by her feminine appearance. During the winter, at the same period, the mother kicked her out of the house, and she became homeless during 3 months. And she has been victim of a rape in a park also. And at that moment, the eating disorder started. In the adulthood, at the age of 25, she has been married to a violent man during 6 years. She was victim of physical and psychological violence with sequestration, threats, and sleep avoidance. Her mother also used to call her at any time of the night, drunk, threatening to commit suicide and letting her worrying all night long. And she went from extreme anorexia at 24-year-old to bulimia and obesity at 33 years of age. The treatment plan was reducing the medication, especially sleep medications, and she was receiving psychotherapy once a week. And the principal complaint was the overwhelming emotion, difficulty to manage the emotions, especially fear of being confined somewhere, taking public transport, to be in a crowd, that something will happen to her, to have a binge eating episode, or the fear to not have warm water or heater. The first Smriti meditation session, the chief complaint was the fear that someone could break in her house, and that during the meditation, the memory of childhood when the mother broke into her room seeking for security. The door was closed with key. Father was knocking at the door violently. She was feeling confined in the room, might need to go to WC. The most emotion present was the powerlessness to help her mother. And at the end of the session, the realization was that the awareness of violation of her woman's security by the parents. At the same moment, she had a lot of sweating during the night, nightmares, accelerated respiratory rate, and a lot of anxiety. She started a medical checkup for the sweating, and we started together to decrease the sleep medications. On the second Smriti meditation session, it was the continuation of the previous session with the feeling of overflow, anxiety, and the emotion present were fear, powerlessness, anger toward her father, and then toward mother, and the awareness was not being understood by her mother. In the third Smriti meditation session, the chief complaint was the worries, the memory, during the meditation, the memory of the mother hospitalized for liver disease appeared. She was feeling lost and powerless. What could I do to save her? There was a lot of anger towards her, and the realization at the end was that it was her own fault. She chose that situation. And when the lung CT scan became a normal, she decided to start to decrease cigarettes and coffee at that session. On the fourth session, she came with the problem of the property owner that wanted to sell her apartment. She went with the chief complaint of fear of financial problems during the meditation. She saw herself at 11-year-old with mother with difficulty to pay the bills, and then at 15-year-old with her homeless situation and the rape. And at that session, she had mostly the fear of the cold and then the anger and hatred about the rape. And she had the awareness about how selling the apartment was related to the rape trauma. The fifth and the sixth meditation sessions was also the continuity of the session with her mother hospitalized. And she felt mostly the guilt about her mother's death. And the realization was that it's her own fault if she is dead. On the seventh session, she had no more dreams about her mother, no more sweating, but she had a weight gain. And she came with the difficulty to accept her feminine forms. And in the meditation, we went through her memories of adolescence at 15-year-old with the start of femininity and the critics from her mother. She had mostly the fear to overshadow her mother, the sadness and uncomprehension. The realization was that I didn't do anything, it's my mother's discomfort. On the eighth session, she had still no sweating, no nightmare. She had more sleep, much less coffee and cigarette use. The chief complaint was too much things to do, anxiety and stress. And we went to her memories of childhood at 12-year-old that we expect from me that I do everything. And she was feeling overwhelmed to manage everything, and she felt also anger towards her mother. The realization was the awareness of the family dysfunction at her and her role of mother. On the ninth Smriti meditation session, the chief complaint was the anger towards her family, and there we saw the several memories of her relationships with the emotions of unfairness and rejection from her family, a lot of anger. During the meditation, she could express anger towards all of them, could forgive some but not others. And she had also awareness of her self-esteem and self-respect. On the last meditation session, the chief complaint was the difficulty falling asleep, but at the same moment, she was still decreasing coffee and cigarette. We went to the memory of adulthood at 25-year-old when mother came at her home. And during the moment that she was falling asleep, she fell asleep with the fear to find her mother dead on the sofa in the morning. And the awareness was the difficulty of falling asleep related to the worries for her mother's behavior. And then when the border was open, she went to Spain during two months. And when she came back on this September, she has left her 70-year-old partner and the situation where she felt she was not respected. And she lost 10 kilo in 1 month. She was smoking more cigarettes and drinking more coffee. She was taking laxative and exercise. She was doing excessive exercise to lose weight, but she was facing a financial problem alone. The mood was okay, the sleep okay, and she didn't have any binge eating. The medical checkup for sweating became negative. That is the table with the progression of all the 10 sessions. And we see here the decrease in all the sleep medications. She could stop 4 medications on 5. She's taking weight. She has stopped sweating and nightmares. She had decreased coffee from 15 cup to 5 and the cigarette 2 packs to 1. And here are all the binge eating episode and vomiting that are decreasing. She could be able to manage better her emotions, had better self-esteem, self-confidence, self-respect after all these sessions. She had decrease in sleep medications, in binge eating episodes and severity, and decrease in compensatory behavior, that is vomiting. She had decrease in coffee, cigarette, and sweets intake. She had resolution of sweating, hot flush, and nightmares. But the undesired effect was the increase of weight to mild overweight, BMI 26, due to decreasing vomiting and also decreasing coffee and cigarette intake that lead to weight gain. And there was a discontinuation of the therapy. And then she felt in an anorexia phase in restrictive type with laxative and exercise. But she is still in a normal range of BMI. She had discussed for her feminine forms remain to be treated, and the plan to continue the therapy acceptation of the feminine forms. The conclusion is that Smriti meditation is a rapid and efficient technique of psychotherapy. We can reach directly the root of the symptom, which are the traumatic memories. And I'm using in my practice my induction type is the emotions and related somatic symptoms. And because of my restricted time, 45 minutes to 1 hour, I need for more session. Thank you.
Very well done, Sora, Dr. Sora. In fact, she has brought 2 points for discussion because of usually when we are teaching training this meditation, we used to suggest that the session should be among 1 to 2 hours. Usually it happens like that. But as I understood that she has got some difficulties in her clinics, and so she is using 45 hours minutes of sessions, and she is continuing the from that point on that next session like that. But still she could find a good result. That is a very interesting point to be noted. And of course, we often can make use of these recall techniques. After each session, the next session when we start, we can start from that point. But it is always good to complete a process until the person feels more happy and comfortable at the end. But of course, I can understand this limitation. And another point I just noticed that from my personal experience, when I'm giving meditation for people who is undergoing some other medications, usually it will be find a little bit difficult because they may not be having that much of sensations and realizations because they are in half sleep stage. So, but she combined these treatments, and that also to be studied because. But of course, in some cases it is also reported. Even others also mentioned that sometimes we can combine the medicine as well as the meditation technique. Anyhow, I congratulate you once again for that very wonderful presentation. Is there any questions? Okay, in that case, let's move on to the next presentation, please.
Dr. Sida Chandran is an independent, self-motivated professional who is into healing thousands of stressed souls, helping them to embark onto the path of excellence. An outstanding practitioner of Smriti meditation, she was conferred with a doctorate from ITRA Gujarat Ayurveda University, Jamnagar. She was bestowed with PM Madhava Warrior Gold Medal from Kottakkal Ayurveda Shala in 2013. With several papers to her credit, she also developed a mobile app on continuous medical education in Ayurveda named Parishat. Currently working as a chief physician at Dr. Sita's Niramaya Ayurgram of Kozhikode, I would like to welcome Dr. Sita Chandran to present her paper, Clinical Experience Sharing in the Management of Schizophrenia with Smriti Meditation. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Shehnaz. Hope the screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, namaste all. So I am Dr. Sita, and in this session, I would like to share my clinical experience in the management of schizophrenia with Smriti meditation. So for a long time, Smriti meditation was done in neurotic cases, and seeing the improvement in neurotic cases, public demand for psychotic cases came. Further, we researched on the topic and we could come out with several publications proving psychoanalytic psychotherapy, addressing the schizophrenia difficulties of patients in such a way, helping them to promote their learning, self-reflection, insight, etc. So we started with taking psychotic cases, and we found their quality of life seems improving, which encouraged us to move ahead. So, so now I would like to discuss a series of cases that has come to my clinic, which was diagnosed as schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a chronic psychotic mental disorder characterized by hallucination, that is hearing voices and seeing things that are not there, delusion, that is fixed false beliefs, disturbance in thought, perception, and behavior. Case 1, these are the vital data of the patient. So this is a female lady who has completed her BTech. In the first session, she stated the goal to be stress-free because she was doing things mechanically and feeling other discomfort. So she expected to be more productive and she could perform better in her job. The patient complains of hearing voices, noises, and seeing people that are not actually present. She was experiencing a running commentary on her behavior and feeling that people can read her mind and it is being broadcasted. She also felt difficulty in decision making and was very slow in routine activities, and some inconsistency in speech, unable to express herself was also noticed. History of present illness. According to the patient, she remembers 1 or 2 incidents where the TV characters came out and observing her at 4 years of age. She remembers continuous fight between her parents. Later, her mother passed away at 5 years of age. Further, she was raised by her grandmother and father's sister. She was often belittled by her father's sister, and at the age of 6 years, when her father remarried, she felt very lonely and self-pity. Apart from all these, she showed a very brilliant scholastic performance and received a Best All-Rounder award from school. When promoted to 10th standard, she had several convulsions from her family, and again her academic score went down to a poor grade again. From 11th grade onwards, she started having feelings like being watched and controlled by people, like someone is prompting her to speak dirty comments, punishing her, etc. So she was brought to a psychiatrist and put on drugs for 3 years. Further, as she felt better, she stopped the medicines. But again, after 1.5 years, the symptoms relapsed and she started the medicines and is still continuing. According to her father also, she was an abnormally brilliant child who was stubborn, stressed and confused in the joint family. Coming to the past history, her stepmom, according to her stepmom, she had certain obsessions in her childhood, and blurring of vision preceded the psychiatric symptoms. Her personal history, vital signs, everything was normal. In mental status examinations, certain abnormalities were detected. Family history was present. Her grandmother, sister was diagnosed with schizophrenia. And based on the criteria mentioned in ICD-10, the case was diagnosed as paranoid schizophrenia, though it was an already diagnosed case. So the severity was assessed using schizophrenia symptom rating scales like PANS, SAPS, and SANS. These are the scoring system which help to assess the positive and negative symptoms in the patient. The positive symptoms are like hallucinations, delusions, etc., and the negative symptoms are the emotional withdrawal, the blended effect on the face, etc. So in the first session, she found to be very peaceful, calm, and relaxed at the end of the session. After that, we did 9 more sessions in this girl. So the major changes in her goal in the subsequent sessions were she wanted to improve the speed of her office work. She wanted to be less fearful, get rid of the negative thoughts and be energetic. And apart in the 8th session, she said that she wanted to accept this as a disease condition in her. And in the 9th session, it was to, she needs to focus in her profession. The major observations in those sessions are she was very cool and pleasant without stress. She could control her thoughts, and the frequency of hallucinations and delusions reduced to a good extent. She was not fearful, and she felt very confident and she could take decisions. Her work speed improved from 15 hours to 12 hours, and she could focus well. On assessment of the severity, it was found that the PAN score came down from 92 to 58, and the positive scores came down from 64 to 36, and the negative scores from 18 to 6. Coming to the next case, this case was brought to, this case was a diagnosed case of PTSD, and this was brought to me by her husband. She has also completed this MBA. So in the first session, she stated the goal as to get rid of the fear so that she could sleep and she could mingle with her family members, and she can avoid the tension about upcoming events. She complains of fear in mingling with others, seeing particular person in a black dress that are not actually present, and experiencing an anaconda snake crawling over her. She self-calm often every day, and when she couldn't tolerate the emotional distress, and also had few suicidal ideations. Hello? Am I audible?
Yeah, audible.
Okay. Sorry. So, so though she could sleep hardly for 2 years, that was also disturbed by the nightmares, and she was not at all interested in any activities and unable to express herself. The history of present illness, this 30 years old male, from the age of 5 years onwards, she had several incidents of sexual abuse from different persons. So she started the habit of hiding from the people in such a small age itself. At the age of 13 years, she opened up the abuse incidents to her father when she got her mana. At the same time, she suffered from many constant bullying from her classmates. So she started feeling so disgusted of herself, stopped talking to people, lost trust, and she couldn't even tolerate her mom's touch. So she was taken to this psychologist for counseling sessions, and she continued this counseling from 2012 to 2018, but there was no remarkable improvement. Further, in 2015, again the problems aggravated, like the hallucinations, delusions, everything starts coming. As in 2019, she got married, but she couldn't adjust with the new atmosphere, and the problems again aggravated. That she couldn't even sleep, and the frequency of this visuals and sensations again increased. History of present illness. That is, in 2021, she was taken to the psychiatrist and she took medicines for 4 months. After taking medicines for 3 months, she came to me and started attending this Smriti meditation. As she was very uncomfortable with the medications, she stopped the medicines herself without the permission of the psychiatrist. So data were collected from her husband too. There was no relevant past history. The personal history and vital signs were normal. There was abnormalities detected in mental status examinations. Even during the session, the patient was having this akathisia. She was very restless, and her mood was also fluctuating. In family history was there. This case was also diagnosed as paranoid schizophrenia. And in the first session, at the end, she felt very safe and relaxed but tired. And subsequently, 7 more sessions were done, and the major changes and goal in those sessions were she would like to live like a normal person, so that she want to come out of her emotional problems, want to express things in normal way, and she want to be independent. Major observations are her hyperactive movements reduced completely, her fear and anxiety reduced, she could express her emotions, frequency of hallucinations reduced, and sleep improved from 2 hours to 6 hours. And she became more courageous. And now she started going to office and she's driving car. And the assessment of severity, the SPAN score came down from 141 to 111, and the positive score from 60 to 52, and negative score from 58 to 44. This case contains was dominant with both positive and negative symptoms. Coming to the third case, this is a 29 years old housewife brought to me. This was also an undiagnosed case brought to me by her husband. And in the first session, she stated the goal that she wants to separate from her husband so that she can live peacefully and happily. This patient complains of seeing persons where others couldn't see and hear voices of conversation. She used to laugh loudly and talk alone, and always suspicious and hypervigilant of her husband. And there was suicidal tendency too. Vital signs were normal. There was abnormalities in the mental status examination. Family history was there of psychiatric disorders. And at the end of the first session, she felt relaxed. Then after 2 more sessions were done, like in the second session, she kept the goal that she wanted to get rid of her tension and feel emotionally consistent. And the third session was, what she told was she need to solve the issues with her husband so that she can live peacefully with him. So the major observations are she felt calm. The incidence of quarreling was nil during those 9 days, and there was no incidence of hallucination. And she started doing her household activities, taking care of kids, and there was no fatigue for those days. But this case was left against medical advice after the third session, and the cause is unknown. So in the discussion part, I would like to recommend few precautions that the practitioners should follow, and I would like to share some peculiarities with respect to this schizophrenia cases. As schizophrenia patients are living in a dreamy world, Smriti meditation in a conscious state will be better. That is, it should be done in a Jagrat state. As the patients have less insight, the leading questions will be necessary. The expression of emotional component will be weak in certain cases. Then the interval between the sessions can be fixed based upon the severity of the patient's condition, the convenience of the patient and doctor, etc. The visualization will be different from other neurotic cases and other psychotic cases too. And the duration of the session was more in schizophrenia cases. And after the session, they may come out with irrelevant statement without logical sense, especially in the primary session, but this will improve after some sessions. And the improvement may not be rapid as in other cases. And in the initial 2 cases, no medications were advised from our side. But in the third case, with the support of Ayurvedic medication, I could observe a faster recovery in the third case. And in cases dominant with positive symptoms showed a better recovery. And the support of family members are very essential. They are of supreme importance in case of schizophrenia patients to go ahead with this treatment and this medication as well as for meditation. So finally, to conclude, the Smriti meditation is beneficial in reducing the positive and negative symptoms of schizophrenia. The quality of life has improved in all the three cases. So patients prefer Smriti meditation to normal counseling therapies and psychotherapy, because you can see that in the second case itself, she has undergone this counseling for almost 6 years. It was continuous and there was no marked improvement. And she took meditation within 3 months, there was a remarkable improvement in her. So she was very comfortable. Not only she, many of the patients seems very comfortable with Smriti meditation when compared to the counseling session. And the improvement also is very magnificent when compared to the other counseling therapies and psychotherapies. So patients under schizophrenia spectrum, they should be able to have a choice against this lifelong psychiatric medication. For that, adequate evaluation of this individual action of therapy is required, and this can be done by replicating in a larger group. Thank you.
So very well done, Dr. Sida. It was a wonderful presentation. And of course, usually in our training program, we don't recommend doctors to take the case of schizophrenia usually. Why? Because of it is not so simple to deal such psychosis, and because it is more beneficial in neurotic conditions. Why? Because of that, in psychotic condition, it is very hard to distinguish the Sopna state and Jagrat state. The barrier between Sopna and Jagrat is almost nil. So, the methodology we are using is little more difficult to tackle these conditions. And the willingness and insight of the patient is also very important. But of course, Dr. Sida being a very experienced Smriti meditation practitioner, and she went on addressing such issues, and I congratulate her for her efforts, and of course a lot of information has pouring into this area. So we need to develop the better methodology for dealing such diseases using Smriti meditation. With that, I think there are some questions. Dr. Vrinda was asking about the medications which you have given. Dr. Sida, can you respond?
Sir, the medication was given in the third case only. That time, Mahakalyanaga Gritha, then Shweta Shankapushpi Churna was given, administered in milk. And it was only for 10 days period. And that case was left against medical advice.
Okay. The next question, Assis was asking how to do meditation in such cases. Is patient having insight?
It's not like they don't have insight at all. They will be having some insight, but their consciousness will be altered. But when you keep doing the session, they keep improving the insight. That is how we are doing. It's not like they are totally devoid of insight. In such cases, it will be very difficult. Here we can see that according to the assessment, most of the cases were predominant with this positive symptoms, and that too with control. That's 2 of them are well educated, and the third one is also she's a housewife, though not educated. So in 3 of them were having insight, not completely.
Okay, very good. Once again, I congratulate you for that wonderful presentation. Thank you, Siddharth.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all for the patient listening.
Moving on to the next session. Dr. Lukmanul Hakim Kalatingal, certified in applied psychiatry, therapeutic yoga, Smriti meditation, basic and advanced courses, and level 1 hypnotherapy. He has been practicing Smriti meditation for the past 2.5 years and has attended more than 1,000 sessions of Smriti meditation. He has been a visiting Smriti meditation practitioner at Qatar and various parts of Kerala from Trivandrum to Kannur. He also conducts online consultation in Smriti meditation in various countries like Belgium, Turkey, Ireland, UK, and Gulf countries, to name a few. An executive member in Resilience Foundation, he had also conducted multiple group meditation sessions. I would now like to invite Dr. Lukmanul Hakim to present his paper, a case report on the effect of Smriti meditation in Obsessive-Compulsive Disorder.
Good evening, one and all. I am Dr. Lukman Al-Hakim, Chief Physician at Dr. Lukman Sayurkar and Smriti Meditation Counseling Center, Kundoti, Malappuram. So I am here to present a case report on the effect of Smriti meditation in obsessive-compulsive disorder. So 4 months back, a female patient, aged 40, came in my OPD with certain presenting complaints like feeling of incomplete voiding of urine, repeatedly trying to expel the last drop of urine by pressing lower abdomen and vulva, feels her body is getting contaminated whenever she urinates.
തിങ്കളാഴ്ച യോഗ ക്ലാസ്സിന് ഞാൻ എല്ലാ തിങ്കളാഴ്ചയും ഞാൻ ക്ലാസ്സിന് കിട്ടുള്ളൂ കേട്ടോ. How you will go? 8 o'clock I have class, 9 till 9 o'clock. Then 9 o'clock Gopal sir class is there. അല്ല അങ്ങനെയാണെങ്കിലേ എടി അവന്റെ ക്ലാസ് ഇപ്പോ 9:00 തുടങ്ങാം. ഇജ്ജ് എത്ര മാസം അവിടെ ഉണ്ടാവുക? അങ്ങനെ എന്റെ അഭിപ്രായത്തില് നമ്മളിപ്പോ ഫസ്റ്റ് ഇയറിന്റെ എക്സാം വരെ എങ്ങനെയെങ്കിലും നിന്ന് എക്സാം എഴുതി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ സെക്കൻഡ് ഇയറിന്റെ അല്ല വരികയാണെങ്കിൽ എങ്ങനെയെങ്കിലും എഴുതുകയാണ്.
So let's continue. She was feeling her body is getting contaminated whenever she urinates, and feeling of imperfection of ablution or wudu without removing the last drop of urine. Repetition while reciting Quran due to feeling of imperfection, and taking more than 1 hour for bathing, and spending a lot of time in the bathroom, feeling of untidiness in kitchen, and repeatedly washing vessels as commonly seen in OCD cases. So coming to her family, she was feeling that the whole family is being affected by her disorder, feeling that the entire happiness and quality of life of the family has been deteriorated, and feeling worried about her family, kids and husband. So she considered prayer as her last resort to give happiness for her family and as a solution for her all her worries. She was always concerned about her mother's religious beliefs. Her mother was less religious during her childhood, and it had adversely affected her. So she resorted to prayer as a recompensation for her mother's misdeeds. The duration of the problem was 31 years, and it started in the age of 9 when she was studying in 5th standard, and gradually symptoms got aggravated. So we can summarize the presenting complaints like this. She started presenting with cleanliness, and after that she presented that she was having some difficulties in bathrooms. She was taking more time in bathroom, and after that she said that the difficulties in urination, and it goes on to the prayer. And after that, she connected that religious views with her mother, and that was the key point in the chief presenting complaints. At that moment, she started talking about her mother and her childhood, and she was feeling guilty about her mother, and she was very sad. She started crying, and at that moment, we started Smriti meditation. And when coming to the session, the goal setting, this goal we set was to control her obsessions regarding urination. It was her main goal, chief goal. And after detailing the goal, she wanted to observe her prayers without any obstacles. She wanted to turn her home to a paradise when she gets out of her problems. So that was her aim of the session. So when coming to the when coming to the meditation session, we started with the induction method of visual giving garden, and when coming to the session, she started seeing a darkness that very fearful for her, and later it turns to a monster, and she was very afraid of that monster. During the session, she felt some darkness accompanying her, which frightened her. Within no time, fear transformed into enthusiasm, and she decided to follow that darkness. Darkness turned into a monster which irritated her like an enemy. She aggressively stabbed the monster with a knife with both hands. It was very difficult to handle that situation, and it was vigorously, she was very aggressive at that moment, and I left her alone for a few minutes. And after that, she somehow overcome that situation. She said that the monster was smiling at her. Finally, she realized that the monster was nothing more other than water, and she relieved a little bit, and she started talking about her childhood. Actually, the hurdle was somehow overcome, and after that, she started talking about her childhood. So coming to the problem solving, she started connecting her memory with her past experiences and past memories. After realizing that the monster is no more disturbing her, she visualized some past memories that hurt her very deeply. Her mother was having an extramarital relationship, and she was a witness for all that in an age of 10. That means when she was studying in 5th standard. From then onwards, she started observing her mother always, whether she is doing any sins. She also lost her sleep thinking about her mother and felt guilty for her mother. She felt lonely and started spending time in the bathroom. She started crying, started weeping in the bathroom, and spent more time in bathroom. Gradually, symptoms aggravated. She considered the sins done by her mother as the impurities in her body. After the meditation session, she felt calmness and peacefulness in her mind, but she was physically very tired. It took nearly half an hour more to recover from the 2-hour meditation. When coming to the second meditation session, she couldn't attend her next session 1 week later due to physical tiredness. That intensity was there, and first follow-up was conducted after 3 weeks. According to the patient, the change was almost nil, but I noticed certain changes in her emotions actually. Feeling discomfort, she was feeling discomfort in her throat, and second session was the continuation of the first session by recalling method. Actually, she was suffering at that time. She was suffering from gastric irritations, body pain, and weakness, etc. So after that session, I gave Vaibhavam Kashayam, Dhanandara Guliga, and Annabedi Sinduram for symptomatic relief. So when coming to the third meditation session, she told me that she felt 25% of change in her problems, and she felt relief in throat difficulties, gastric irritations, and body pain. She also herself felt an urge to come out of bathroom, and the meditation was continuation of the previous one in the third session. And the induction technique we used was early in the earlier session actually the garden, and after that she turned into she continued meditation through a river. During this session, she felt sad about her childhood. She felt sad about her childhood as she didn't get proper care from her mother, and she shared some memories about her mother and father. When coming to the fourth meditation session, she felt 75% of change in her symptoms, and she was able to finish her bath in 15 minutes and feeling comfortable in taking ablution and prayers. And the goals were reset at that time, and she want complete relief from obsessions related to cleaning vessels, and also she want complete cure from feeling of incomplete voiding of urine. So during this session, she remembered her mother-in-law, who is an OCD patient. She visualized herself in the place of her mother-in-law and felt very sad. It was actually very significant. Actually, she was connecting her problems with recent past memories, and she never talked about her childhood, and she never wanted to be like her mother-in-law. And during the meditation, she felt trapped inside a net. By time she somehow managed to came out of the net and felt very happy and calm. After that, I had a review through phone after 1 week of that fourth meditation session, and she said that she's having feeling 90% of change in her problems, and spending only 15 minutes in bathroom, and she was feeling very happy with her prayers and able to recite Quran without difficulties, and also feeling happy and calm at home. So coming to the OCD, it's often a disabling condition consisting of bothersome, intrusive thoughts that elicit a feeling of discomfort, and that is the obsession. And to reduce the anxiety and distress associated with these thoughts, the patient may employ compulsions or rituals. The most common obsessions include fears of contamination, fears of aggression or harm, sexual fears, religious fears, and the need to make things right. Compulsions include washing and cleaning, checking, reassurance seeking, repeating, and ordering. When coming to the conclusion, WHO lists OCD as one of the 10 most disabling conditions by financial loss and a decrease in quality of life. The patient was not given any, in this condition, the patient was not given any type of medications except Nayobang Kashayam, Nanandaram Guliga, Anabedi Sinduram, which was given for gastric irritations. First session was given 4 months back, and there was total 4 sessions. It has been 3 weeks since the last session, and until now, the patient is free of any symptoms of OCD. So, thank you one and all for giving me such a great opportunity. Thank you.
Very well done, Dr. Lukman. And he has illustrated a very important factor that how the childhood trauma is leading to illnesses in later part of our life. So this kind of a childhood trauma is not only causing OCD, but if you trace many psychological disorders as well as the psychosomatic disease or somatic disease, you can try to find a root cause in the childhood. That's why the Smriti technique is more significant. By realizing that impact which we encountered from the childhood, which is influencing the person's mentality and behavior and even the personality. So that was a good presentation. If you, I think, is there any questions? Okay, in that case, let us move on to the next presentation, please.
Before moving on to the next session, I request all the participants to make sure that your mics are muted during the presentation. Dr. Mohammad Safi, who completed his graduation and post-graduation from Vaidiragnam PS Varya Ayurveda College, Kottakkal, was serving as Assistant Professor at Department of Swasthavarta, Vaidiragnam PS Varya Ayurveda College, Kottakkal. He is the co-founder of Smoothie, who is exclusively into practice of Smriti meditation. He also collaborates with many centers for the practice of Smriti meditation and wellness therapy. Currently, Trust Board Member of Smriti Foundation Educational Charitable Trust and Administrative Officer of Smriti Institute, I welcome Dr. Mohammad Safi sir for his presentation on observational findings on the outcome of patients undergoing Smriti meditation in general practice.
Good evening, one and all. Hope it is visible.
Yeah, it's visible, doctor.
So we were discussing about the single case studies like OCD and binge eating, the management of these cases with Smoothie meditation. And we have discussed one research study conducted by Dr. Naishu in sleep disorder, insomnia, and a case series by Dr. Sida. So I would like to present my past 1 year experience, the sum total of my experience and observational findings on the outcome of patients undergoing Smoothie meditation in general practice. So I have divided this presentation into three categories. First part is demographic data, the second part is clinical evaluation, and the third part is evaluation of Smriti meditation sessions.
Pardon, the slide is not visible.
Sorry for the delay due to some technical glitches, please.
Yes. Next slide, please. So coming to the details of demographic data. Here also, please. This one. Okay. So coming to the demographic data, here you can see 4 tables. First one is age distributions. Next one is gender distribution and occupational status and education status. Say the maximum population who has came for Smoothie meditation is coming to under the age group 30 to 40, followed by 40 to 50, and then 20 to 30. So maximum mean age was noted as 35.6. So in this study, you can see there is only very few participants less than 10 years and very less participants, those who are more than 70 years. So we can see the Smriti meditation technique is highly effective in a specific age group, more than 10 years till 60 years, where in early childhood there is no particular insight and all, and in geriatric population where there is geriatric changes, it is also difficult to handle such cases. Then coming to the gender distribution, 54% were female and the remaining 46% were male participants. We have noticed that female participants were opening up more than the male participants, and especially doing the repeated sessions. Female participants, there was no reluctance to do repeated session for repeated sessions. And now coming to the education status, you can see most of the participants were graduates or like that, postgraduates and educated people. This does not signifies that Smriti meditation is always applicable to such population, because here we have done online and offline session. You know, during the last lockdown period, where there was a partially or complete lockdown, and 41% of the participants were using online media. So that's why educated people had more access towards this technical advancement. Now, next please. Now coming to the clinical evaluation, it is divided into presenting complaint, psychological symptoms, childhood trauma and psychological trauma. Next slide please. Now we will discuss one by one what are the presenting complaints in detail. Next please. Now the first one is classified into neurological and neurocognitive disorders. And you can see dementia, Parkinson disorder, seizures, migraine, nocturnal enuresis, lack of concentration, all these were reported in the neurological and neurocognitive head. In case of dementia, there is very less result in such cases. In Parkinson disease, I have done only one case, but in that particular case, fear was the major triggering factor. Whenever he has some sort of anxiety, he was a person working in an office. He was a team leader in that office. Whenever stress come to him, he used to have the rolling tremors. So we identified the fear was the major factor, along with the Ayurveda treatment. We have done Parkinson disease, and we are expecting more and more sessions should be done in such cases. We can't give a conclusion with 2 or 3 sessions. In case of seizures, we know seizures can be classified into we got some pseudo seizures, and in case of generalized clonic tonic seizures, it is not much effective. But in case of pseudo seizures, where psychological factor is predominant, it's much effective. And in case of migraine is such a beautiful area where Smriti meditation is effective. In case of family conflict, wherever the person is not able to take a decision, and in all such cases, migraine is manifested as a symptom, as a disease. And nocturnal enuresis, it was only one case I couldn't manage because I didn't get the proper follow-up. And lack of concentration was, as I told, if it is related to the old age, it was not easy to manage, but in early ages it was easy to manage. Next slide please. And now coming to the mental disorder. Mental disorder, we have classified it into anxiety disorder and depressive disorder as a major part, and few cases like bipolar disorders, obsessive-compulsive disorder, and other mild mental disorders. You can see anxiety disorder is listed as 48 cases because there is a lot of features like generalized anxiety disorder, social anxiety disorder, various type of phobias, hypochondriasis, fear of losing, fear of death, and so on. And in such cases, initially the patient is so much irritable in nature, and after doing a few meditation, we can calm down the person, and we can do meditation further. And in certain cases where the anxiety was too much, we suggested to take medicine also. But in such cases also, we ask the person to stop the medication just before the session. If we are fixing the session on tomorrow 6 p.m., we will ask them to stop the medication before 24 hours, like that. And in case of depressive disorder, you can see many type of sadness, loneliness, like all the negative emotions like sadness and associated worthless feel, hopeless feel, all these were classified into depressive disorder. And in case of bipolar disorder, where there is in maniac state, it was much difficult to manage such cases. And among the 3 patients, I couldn't manage one case, and I sent the person for the modern medical management. And other 2 cases were easy to handle after long session. It was not within a 2 or 3 sessions. More sessions were needed for better result. Next please. And in case of physical illness or somatic illness, diabetes, thyroid dysfunction, gastritis, gastroesophageal reflux disease, anal fissure, bronchial asthma, low back pain, neck pain, these type of pain and associated somatic features, where the psychic component is manifested as a psychosomatic or totally somatic manifestation was there. In such cases, like in diabetes and all, the person is often presenting some type of stress-induced diabetes. So often the sugar value is on the higher side, but the patient is not complaining about the sugar value while doing the meditation. Sometimes he may be complaining that he want to face the situation in a courageous way. I had a lady who was in her 40s, and he lost her husband all on a sudden, and he was the whole burden of the family was upon her shoulders. And in such cases, her sugar level was not under control. So the person was asking to have better courage to face the challenges in the life. Next please. So and in case of eczema, allergic rhinitis, overweight, fatigue means chronic fatigue syndrome, itching all over the body, PCOS, menorrhagia, perimenopausal symptoms, chronic kidney disease. In this case, chronic kidney disease, only 1 cases I have attended, and that person was not complaining anything related with the chronic kidney disease, and she she is not going to recover from the disease. She wants to be independent. And she is thinking that when the condition adverse, frequent dialysis is needed, she wants to depend upon her family members, and it will be as some sort of burden. And this thought itself is making her some limited type of moments, and her quality of life was very diminished. So after the session, she realized one long road was given as an induction, and she could manage, she could walk through the road very easily towards the end of the meditation. And she stated that she is able to manage all the situation, whatever happens, whatever condition come to her life in the future. Next please. And in case of relationship issues, family conflict, you can see 34 cases were there. Difficulty in handling kids, 1 cases. Domestic violence was there, and love failure was also there. And in case of a family issue is a very prone area in the society, and we have wonderful opportunity in that cases also. Insomnia is described in detail by Dr. Naishu. I am not going to that area. Next please. Now coming to the stress and related diseases, stress 27 cases, caregiver stress. These 2 persons were 2 mothers of a CP patient, cerebral palsy patient. That kid was not at all do his own or her own activities, and the mother was striving in her life. She was she lost her job, she had no good time with her family, and so on. That the complaint was on, and she was feeling so guilty that she is not managing her kid properly. So after the meditation, she has realized she is doing her best towards the kid, like that. And then post-traumatic stress disorder. Next, please. And behavioral problems like alcohol addiction, I have attended 2 cases. That 2 cases were from my known circle, and the person were reluctant to do the follow-up sessions. So I couldn't get a positive result in these cases. Then introverted behavior, aggressive behavior, eating disorder. Eating disorder, already Dr. Zora has mentioned. That was also one wonderful case. Within 3 sessions, we got a considerable, remarkable change in this case. Then oppositional defiant disorder. See, these cases, I have attended 3 cases. In all these cases, I have done meditation for their parents. So these cases were less than 10 year or less than 12 year, that age group. So it is not easy to do meditation in that particular age, and the problem is often with the parents. Next, please. And sexual dysfunction, loss of libido, homosexual inclination, unnatural sexual act, gender dysphoria, all these type of cases may come to us, and we should be prepared to do such cases also. Please, next. Post-COVID, from the chronic fatigue to the sleeplessness, there is a spectrum of symptoms in post-COVID condition, and anxiety and sleeping disorder is the most important psychological problems in such cases. Physical issue, fatigue is the most important physical issue, along with the chest congestion. Next, please. And personality issues like lack of self-confidence, inferiority complex, lack of motivation, lack of aim in life. So at the end of meditation, the person will realize, who am I, what is my responsibility, what should I do. All these revelation will come to him, and he or she will be able to manage the things properly. Next, please. And coming to the childhood trauma, in all the cases, like Dr. Lukman, Dr. Sida, Dr. Zora has explained the role of childhood trauma. I am not going in depth. See, the percentage of childhood trauma is very significant. In all such cases, we have to elaborate if there is any such. The person is always reluctant to share whatever the childhood trauma, especially the sexual assault and all. So after 2 or 3 sessions, the person will be able, after having a good rapport, they will share the condition. Then psychological trauma is another thing, which is very important. In 36%, you can see that psychological trauma was there. Next, please. Next, please. Next. And from the evaluation of the clinical symptoms, we can determine the scope and limitation. What should I do? In cases like what Dr. Sida has explained, in such cases where there is a poor insight and severe maniac phase and all, it's very difficult to handle. So we have to identify our scope and limitation, especially the psychosomatic conditions like chronic pain, bronchial asthma, migraine and all. It's very easy to manage also. So we have to identify our powerful area and our weakful area also. Then emotional issues. Emotional issues have a definite role in the manifestation of symptoms, like the person who is spending more time in the office and or held up in office or held up in domestic work will be having the presentation like low back pain. Migraine, I already explained the cause. Then like shoulder and neck pain, where the person is having a lot of responsibility, where he or she has to shoulder a lot of responsibilities. Like that, symptoms are giving some cues towards the area where we should focus during the meditation. And importance of insight is already explained. Please, next. And coming to the evaluation of the session. Next, please. We will discuss one by one. And see the number of sessions. 37.5% of the participants have done only 1 sitting. That means, as I told, just after having a better relief, they are not coming to the follow-up. And only very few persons have done 6, 7, 8 sittings. And especially the conditions like psychotic disorder and the conditions like chronic non-communicable diseases like diabetes and all, where there is a total lifestyle modification is needed, where whenever there is a energy loss or when they become against stress, there is every chance to deviate from their whatever they have achieved through the meditation, and we have to do further support during particular interval. It will be better to have a good result in those conditions. Next, please. And the induction method, already all the in all the presentation they have mentioned about the techniques. There is, other than images, emotional, kinesthetic, natural, and recall techniques are there. Dr. Zora has explained what are recall techniques, and images were there in all the sessions, previous session, like roads, gardens, flowers, and all. Next, please. And coming to the hurdles, there was visual, emotional, kinesthetic, intellectual hurdles. And hurdles is something positive in the case of Smriti meditation, because whenever there is a hurdle, we can guide the person to overcome that hurdle, and the hurdle will be often the problem, whatever problem. So if in case of Dr. Lukman's presentation, that person was seeing some sort of darkness, and the darkness gradually became like a monster, and at the end of that session, that lady identified that monster is nothing other than the water. Like that, whenever there is a hurdle, it is easy to move forward in such cases. So hurdles are a positive part in the meditation. Next, please. And coming to the distractions, lack of concentration, difficulty to focus, sleep, external stimuli, these are the distractions. Distractions are often negative. The person will be having always a tendency to get out of the meditation. So it is always negative. And initially when we start practice, there was a lot of mistakes what we have done, and distractions were very high. And nowadays we are gradually reducing the distractions. Next, please. And the problem solving is either intellectually, emotionally, or by a revelation or physical symptoms. And in certain cases, like in emotional, the person will be bursting out all the emotions, and intellectually the person will be thinking and finding a logical solution for the particular problem. Revelation is the understanding in a multidimensional way, and the person will be able to come to a conclusion. That revelation will come to that person. And physically, especially like kinesthetic features. Next, please. And emotion at the end of meditation, you can see happiness is the most presented feature, emotion at the end, but there is some neutral emotions are there. Anger is there, or some negative emotions may also come at the end of the meditation. So next, please. So it's the end of the presentation. Thank you for patiently listening. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Dr. Mohammad Safi, for that wonderful presentation. I really congratulate him for doing such a wonderful documentation. This is very, very important, because we need to document all these cases which we have tried, because we are emerging many techniques, and we need to know that in which cases we are getting the good results and all. But of course, in order to have a concrete understanding of that, we need to go for randomized control trials and all. Of course, we already the aim of the Smriti Institute is to establish such research studies, and in coming years, I hope that we will be coming with more proper results after conducting many research. And I am requesting all the practitioners of Smriti meditation to please document whatever you experience from your clinics, and we can gather such a large documentation, so that we will have more clear understanding about how this Smriti meditation is working, and in what are the scopes and limitations in a proper manner. With that, we are coming to the concluding of this seminar. Is there any questions? I think in that case, I just ask Shahnas to conclude it. Thank you.
With this, we come to the end of the webinar. With the permission of our Honorable Chair, I would like to say that this concludes our program. Thank you all for your patient listening. It's been a pleasure being with all of you today. We hope you all had a great day. Thank you for joining with us. Good night.